Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this free video let's talk about the tale of 2 days. Yesterday, with my bullish bias that we've had in our plan since the 10th of June, I'm looking for longs and longs only. So yesterday, if there's anything that I probably underestimated, were the pre-stress tests, which are today. The stress tests that are 3:30 Central, that we would see reverse repos and some liquidation of stocks in front of that. And I thought maybe we'd see it today, happen a little bit earlier. It's difficult to time these things, but I think yesterday that was the culprit. Hey gang, grand opening, grand closing. There was really no stopping that move. Took some V-score lows and got stopped out pretty much immediately. So, just one of those days yesterday, and I just kind of lick my wounds and move on. But it doesn't mean I'm going to change what I do. A lot of times what traders do after a day like yesterday is they completely upend their trading plan. And today I went with a buy only. I went with again, same idea. And what do we get? We had our breach, and then we looked for our retreat zones, and we had 2 opportunities to do this. And so the same game plan that I was looking at yesterday, looking at lows, looking at opportunities to get long. By the way, these were the 3rd and 4th entries of the morning. I'm sharing with you everything that happened after the clearing range, which is after 10 a.m. Before the clearing range, we had some HPMR V-score entries. Now that's a little bit more aggressive. That's something that I allow, I'll say that if you're trading for about 3 months with this style, if you're focusing about 3 months on this style, my self-directed traders will do more aggressive inside the clearing range trade. So I won't count that, although this was the 3rd and 4th trade. The second would have been this one here. The second would have been right there in terms of a breach. So what happened? Well, we had that across the ES, the RTY, and the YM. So really the takeaway here is I'm going to stick with a long bias. I'm going to stick with buying near the lows of the ranges. And I'm going to stick with, if I am going to get stopped out, I'm not going to flip short, and I'm not going to change my trading plan the very next day. Now, let me also mention, as we go into tomorrow, we've got the Russell, the RTY reconstitution. Now, what is that? That's just a fancy terminology they use for their rebalancing. Reconstitution is oftentimes the most volatile, well, maybe not most volatile, but it's the most volume. I am expecting volatility. So reconstitution is oftentimes the most volume we'll see, one of the highest volume days. Now, let me show you my notes here that are surrounding this phenomena. Now, we have a reconstitution timeline. So for those of you that are wondering, okay, how does this work? This is what it looks like. Here's your reconstitution timeline. All right. And you'll see right there, June 29, that's what we're looking at. And then on the 26th, on 29th, we open with the new reconstituted Russell. So tomorrow is going to be that day for the Russell. All right. Now, I think it's also important to remember that month-end volatility is pretty important. All right. This Dash for Cash study that I share with members, and we talk about this at the end of the month. You can pause the video here real quick if you want to read it. But what you want to remember is that there's a typical inclination for there to be distributions at the end of the month, and I think the end of the quarter just exacerbates that. And one thing I think the market's probably making too much of is the sort of de-risking that we're assuming we're going to see. I think the mere fact that we're talking so much about it sort of as a marketplace reduces the likelihood that we'll see something like June 11th again. So while I hope we do see some lows tomorrow, my game plan is, do we see lows on Friday, and does that set up buys early or at some point on Monday? All right, that's kind of my game plan going into next week. And next week, of course, is a holiday affected week. So it's going to be a short week. All right, so that's tonight's free video. Hope it helped. Think about tomorrow's reconstitution. Please be careful tomorrow in terms of trading too actively. Yes, there will be volatility. There will be a ton of volume. just be cautious. All right. I'll see you in the next update.